I would love to welcome Charles and Maria, but Charles, I did not see Charles for years, and he is one of the best experts in energy industry. If I would name three experts in this country, Charles will be one of the three. Charles, we're speaking today about investments. Could you brief us a little bit? Do we have any news in energy investments? What's happening in the industry? Sound. You need to switch on the sound. We can hear you. Yes, now.
Hi, everybody. Energy investment where? In Cyprus, you mean?
Yes, we're speaking about Cyprus today.
Well, we have to change direction to get investment. At the moment, we seem to be confused about where we are going. We are still talking about gas and exporting gas and all of these things that probably will never happen now.
Will never happen.
Be shifting our thinking towards renewables, clean energy, and also open it up to international investment. At the moment, the way everything is being done is constrained. We are not opening up the possibilities for international companies to come and invest. So there are massive opportunities in terms of renewables, in terms of possibly the going ahead with the interconnector and opening up the possibility of exporting to neighboring countries electricity, but we're not developing the policies, the strategies to allow this to happen. We seem to be stuck in plans we developed 10 years ago.
So a foreign investor, if he or she wants to invest in the industry of energy, needs a special permission from the governments, and they cannot just free come and buy a plot of land and invest? Or you spoke only about this principal things like oil and gas, where there is
no, I'm talking about energy in general.
In general, yeah, it's
in general. I mean, for example, I have people talking to me about developing biofuels in Cyprus using animal refuge or farm refuge. And you won't believe the obstacles and the red tape they're meeting. They have given up trying to develop these projects because of the complexity of our own systems. I see everybody and I hear everybody, and it's good that there is so much interest in encouraging investment, but we also need to change our own systems, remove the red tape, to open up the investment opportunities, make them easier. At the moment, we are actually pushing people away.
I'm sorry to hear it. And also, could you come back to the statement that maybe the oil and gas story will never happen? So we see this like a fairy tale for last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. And now from the professional point of view, it's not feasible.
Another missed opportunity. We should have done things about it before. We didn't do anything. We were sitting on this thing and didn't take opportunities that appeared. They have gone away. I mean, yesterday, 3 monumental developments happened about probably you haven't heard or nobody in Cyprus has heard or is interested. First, Shell lost a court action in the Netherlands, and the court instructed them to reduce their emissions by 45% by 2030. And by emissions, I mean emissions from the oil and gas they sell, not just their own emissions, but also from the use of their own oil and gas. That is, to achieve 45% reduction. It's a massive change. And for Shell to do that, they must stop extracting oil and gas largely and go into green energy. That's one. Second, in the United States, the activists got together with major investors and forced ExxonMobil to accept 2 activists on their board as directors to push for green energy. Third, Chevron, who we expect will come and develop Aphrodite, has also been forced to backtrack by its own investors and its own shareholders, to the point that they now have cut their budgets. They're concentrating on major projects only, with large returns, and they have made promises to cut their own emissions substantially. And preceding that, last week, the International Energy Agency published a report called A Roadmap to Net Zero by 2050. And in it, they say that if the world is to achieve that, all new oil and gas projects must completely stop by 2025. No more new oil and gas projects. And remember, the IEA is the organization that is the most influential organization in energy worldwide, and advises everybody. So the outcome of that is trepidation by the oil companies. I mean, it's very serious. And until recently, you heard the word peak oil, that oil demand worldwide will peak at some stage and start going down. Now there is another phrase being coined called peak investment. In other words, investment in oil and gas may peak very soon and start going down. And if investment stops, who is going to fund these projects? These are the big changes that happened during the past few days, and they have a tremendous effect on Cyprus and the future of gas. If these companies are under such tremendous pressure, this change, this being forced to move towards green energy, how are they going to come and start developing the epoxy little projects we have in Cyprus EZ? It's difficult.
I see.
So
Thank
it's a
you.
missed opportunity. That's why we need to change. There are opportunities for Cyprus in energy, and there are opportunities for anybody who wants to develop projects in that area, but not in gas anymore. And we need to change. We need to think differently. But
Yeah.
listening to our ministers as if nothing is happening. Tomorrow, mañana, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, thank you for updating us with all this. I fully agree. The energy issue is important, but we need to look at how we position Cyprus and how we promote Cyprus in this field. It's not anymore about oil and gas, but about green energy and about all these opportunities. George, your company has representation offices in so many countries. When people think about Cyprus, do they think about investment in Cyprus? Because I've had statistics that, where is it? Cyprus foreign direct investment was 96% down across first, third, 3 quarters of 2020. So it was down. Is it going up? And if yes, what fields?
Okay. Okay. I don't know exactly the statistics and specifically like how much Cyprus is there, but yeah, the general thing is that Cyprus needs to. I mean, instead of just looking at why the investors are either leaving or why are they rethinking or what is wrong with Cyprus and. One of the things that is wrong for many years with Cyprus is what Charles just mentioned. I believe it's down to the culture. Okay, the thing is that we need to pay more attention to the foreign direct investment, which is I believe we all agree that FDI is extremely important for the development of any economy. Generally, imagine even more for a relatively small economy with limited natural resources and capital like Cyprus. So especially now with the recession brought by the pandemic, FDI of any kind, okay, and I agree about FDI concentrating and focusing on green energy, for example, could spark economic recovery and help to transform the Cypriot economy. The thing is that, and I can talk from my industry and my section, we really need to focus on changing things from scratch. So we need to identify Cyprus's key strengths and weaknesses because they are there. And of course, the areas that need improvement, and there are many. So, the thing is that Cyprus generally as an economy, I can say that it is stuck or it is only focusing on specific sectors, the known ones, like for example, tourism or real estate, or even financial services, which I am in as well. And I believe that now is the time to actually reconsider all that and start focusing on other sectors that Cyprus really has potential.
Andreas, you travel a lot and so you work in this booming sector of fintech. What things are attractive when you speak about Cyprus with foreigners? What makes them to think that we have future?
Okay, well, I used to travel a lot, lately not so. Yeah, it's a pain point there.
No one has traveled a lot lately.
Listen, there is a regime in Cyprus about companies who have their own intellectual property, right? You'll be amazed. Nobody knows it about Cyprus. So when you are in Luxembourg, in Germany, or even in London, right, at an international conference, and the majority of my competition is either very big banks or other software providers. 99% of them, they have their own intellectual property. And they never considered Cyprus as a hub for companies who have their own intellectual property, which basically what it does, 80% of your revenues from your international, from the IP are pretty much tax-free. And that's huge. People consider Cyprus as a nice place, stable tax regime, very, very bad judicial and legal system. It takes for ages if you have a problem and you go through our courts. And a lot of this is due to our miscommunication of lack of correct communication strategy as an island. A very good example is the news that came out with the passports. Where did they make mistakes? No doubt. Out of, I don't know, is it a 5% mistakes in the passports they approved? Maybe it's 10. Did we, as a country, if you like, because I'm not just referring to the government here, did we come out and say, okay, we made a mistake, we're rectifying it, and we are moving on? No. We always start blaming everybody else except ourselves. I mean, it's been the story forever in Cyprus. We stuck just as in the energy sector. I mean, the new trend now is a new reporting trend right now, that is going global, if you ask me, is about ESG reporting, environment, social, and governance. Very, very distinct reporting. So the metric now on companies is not just about how much money you're making, but what is your positive impact on society, on the environment. We were approached from companies in Central Europe and the UK, whether we will start providing for them ESG reporting. Guess how many companies from Cyprus asked? None. Right. So we definitely, I agree with George, we need to start thinking into the new era. Charles was absolutely right. I mean, we have so much sun and we still pay the electricity authority of Cyprus, I don't know how much money, to keep the status quo unchanged. Right. So yes, we need to change, but we need to start and try to control the narrative about Cyprus. There is a lot of bad reputation, and the majority of times is unfounded because we do not help ourselves. Who remembers LuxLeaks? Nobody. Did Luxembourg provide favorable terms to companies to go to Luxembourg? Yes. Did it come out? Yes. Is it still on the news? No. You Google Cyprus, every single day we bring back stories.
And we bring ourselves. We publish
exactly.
and publish and repeat ourselves the same things.
Exactly. We are not the only European country that gives sells effectively passports. We just don't do it the right way, and we do not accept our mistakes, and most importantly, we do not learn from them.
Okay, so we don't deal with passports anymore. Andrei, my question is to you.
Well,
When
I
we
don't know.
when we don't deal with passports anymore, what still can be attractive with all these mistakes George mentioned and so on? When you speak to new people about Cyprus, what do you say and what do they say about it? Because you can see out of the box, you are Russian, and at the same time with your heart, you are in Cyprus, so you're trying to bring them here.
When this passport problem first appeared, actually, I think it's appeared not last year, it was long time before. There were these issues with the passport program, I think back in 2013 and later, and they tried to all the time to make it more, let's say, strict and more compliant. And then they introduced some approved, service providers. And still this didn't help because, the problem was, there were not real substance behind it, because it was still driven mostly by sales in the markets, in the real estate primarily, okay? And when developers want to sell, they will go and make whatever they want to sell, okay? So definitely they will find a way to abuse. So like what other countries do, they do not allow only to invest into real estate, okay? So they try to make it more diversified, more balanced. For example, Austria, it still has this exact program, but in order to get Austrian passport through investment, you have to invest in undeveloped part of Austria. Effectively, you have to lose money there, okay, and add some good for the country, and then yes, you will get passport. But in Cyprus it was kind of distorted, and that's why I think coupled with some maybe greediness of local developers, yes, this the result of what we currently have. But anyway, what we did for our clients, basically from day one, we were telling them that you have to really settle down in Cyprus. You have to have real presence here. You have to spend time. You have to have office. You have, if you want to really relocate, you need to relocate with your family, etc. And actually what happened that quite a number of our clients, they really moved to Cyprus and they start to enjoy it, okay? So in the retrospect, it was the right thing to do because they currently have a good base here. They diversified away from, let's say, Russian country risk, which is became over the years very serious. Okay, so it was, I think, at the end, a positive thing. And currently, yes, there is no possibility to get a passport in an easy way, but still there are opportunities to get it. For example, you can live in Cyprus, work, have business, and then you learn Greek with your help. Okay, and then you, I have one ex-colleague who is here 5 years. He just passed a Greek exam, and he is applying for permanent residency and then for passport. Okay, so this is another way. If somebody who wants it, he will find the right way how to do it. You know.
Absolutely right. Andrei is telling to us, yes, Charles. Andrei is telling to us about quality of life. I heard from many people that it's still good to live in Cyprus, and then everything else is following. Charles, yes.
No, I just wanted to say that I live overseas, and we have to be very careful. The passport scheme is not the problem by itself. It's the massive corruption that has gone around it that has destroyed Cyprus' reputation. The fact that the corruption has gone all the way to the top of our political and our establishment is what has really been hurting Cyprus. Otherwise, passport schemes exist in quite a few European countries, and they don't cause the problem that our own scheme has. It's one word that is our problem: corruption, and it's massive, and it's affecting everything, not just passports.
Yes, and in the last years it appeared, because Cyprus always had the kind of corruption, but it was not so obvious. While last years we could see many scandals about this. I want to address Anastasia Yanni. We were speaking about properties now, and she's an expert in property. And Charles was also saying about peak of investment or peak of energy. Anastasia, it seems that it was already peak of property, and then it went down. What is the situation now when it comes to property investments from foreigners? Switch on your microphone, we cannot hear you. Mm-hmm.
Hi, everyone. Natalia, I think it's a very good idea to have these meetings so we can exchange views. And before I say anything about properties, I heard something, and that's when I raised my hand, is what Andreas said. And I think that it is the first point of attention for all of us. And this is the reputation and reputational damage that is happening every day to the country. And I think, okay, we all understand elections, problems, mishandling, there are plenty. But I think there is an emergency. I personally see it as an emergency, that there should be, I don't know, a governmental body or some organization that will be sort of doing the better PR for the company. Because now, and I'm sure, Natalia, that you see the same, every day I receive links from Russian media, reprinted from Cypriot media, reprinted, and it's all negative. And because we all know that journalists and people, they don't want to hear how wonderful Cyprus is. They don't want to hear the good things, but all the bad things, they're blown out of proportions, but also we do it ourselves. And I think with the election thing, it went completely out of hand.
That's what you're saying about reputation management. We do not have any strategy on reputation management, but moreover, we create bad reputation ourselves.
100%. And for me, it's even more serious than loss of potential gas and petrol earning, which might happen or which might not. But the damage of reputation that we cause on ourselves, this is the worst thing. That, you know, like, again, I really like Andrea said, yes, we really messed up with the citizenship, not to the extent that it is described now. And again, this is the immigration business is always a bit strange, let's call it that way. And when I was involved with citizenship, I can tell you, I started the program of every country. And it is like supermarket. Basically, you go and you say, okay, how much money do you have? This much? Okay, you can only go to St. Kitts and Nevis. You have this much money. Okay, you can come to Cyprus. So that was the nature of that business. And that's why, in a way, it's not the business by itself, it's the way that we handled it, but it's in the past. But we just keep washing this dirty laundry again and again and again. And the worst thing is that, you know, let's say we all remember 2013. Okay? We all remember the financial crisis, the banking crisis. Again, people forgave Cyprus. Okay, especially, let's say, Russian people, Russian mentality. They lost lots of money in the banks, but they forgave Cyprus because they love it. They love the island. Citizenship disaster. Okay, I think that they will still forgive us, but we should help them see the beauty of the island and have an urgent reputation management.
I agree with you. And to finalize it, 2 words about property, because I'm planning in 5 minutes to conclude.
Sorry, guys, because, you know, I'm a very passionate speaker. So sorry for that.
So what's happening with property investment? Do people from abroad still consider Cyprus property, or they gave up already?
They do. They do. And we have, again, guys, I think with all these problems, we do forget how that we do live in paradise, distorted, but still a paradise. And people, there is an interest. Of course, let's say because my company, we don't really work with local market. We only work with foreigners and from all the countries. So we can see that there is lots of interest. Of course, now they cannot make this final step to actually come and choose. But let's say yesterday we had a big online webinar for Israel, Germany, UK, and Scandinavia. It was one of the most active webinars I had. When people were there asking questions, there is lots of interest. The day before, we had our online event for Russia. Again, there is interest. Cyprus has so much to offer. Of course, we can fine-tune lots of things, but definitely there is an interest. Change of demand, of course. We were all spoiled with 2 million clients, so now we go back to slightly different budgets, but interest is there.
Okay, thank you, Anastasia. So I would like to summarize because we have our half an hour, it passed, but Nicholas, Antonis, Maria, you didn't say a word. So do you have anything to add to this conversation? Neophytos? Maria, ladies first.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your time. I come from a slightly different industry. I work for an algorithmic hedge fund operating in Cyprus for just over 4 years. Obviously, the algorithmic space is relatively new, but I will say that falls under the fintech umbrella. We serve clients around the globe. We have investors from obviously Europe, being a EU-based fund. We cover the Middle East and Far East Asia. And mainly investors that we deal with are professional, institutional type of investors. Obviously, the Cyprus angle always comes to play, and it's a dimension that we have to deal with. And unfortunately, the unprofessionalism or the issues that have emerged over the past few years on other fronts do reflect on the industry in general. And despite the efforts and despite how robustly and serious we are with our operations, the setup and the business landscape in which we operate always has a bearing on what we do. Fortunately, for our industry and for our product, we have the least reliance with the local landscape. We have, service providers outside Cyprus. Our liquidity providers are based abroad. Our clients definitely appreciate the fact that we compare quite strongly with.
We have only 1 minute for our other people. Somehow
yes.
to summarize the meeting today.
Yes, that's fine. So basically, yes, we are trying to do our best in a highly complex and demanding environment.
All right. Thank you, Maria Antonis. But to the point of this meeting, without advertising, like Maria told us, everything
yes.
Is your company, but not about the meeting.
Yes, just to be very brief, I work with Maria in the same company, and I definitely feel the passion that Anastasia was sharing before. It's it's quite unfortunate when it's already challenging to in our field to connect and acquire new relationships and clients abroad, and when they block you before you get the chance to even do a 15-minute presentation or a half-an-hour presentation because of the jurisdiction.
Block you because
it's it's quite unfortunate. And again, as Anastasia mentioned, it's very important, because negative news travels faster and it's more impactful than good news. It stays in the minds of people abroad, and I personally experienced that also because I used to live in Canada. And when the banking system collapsed in 2013, when we had the major issues. People that didn't know about Cyprus all of a sudden knew about Cyprus. So Just wanted to share this.
Okay, so you agree with Anastasia about reputation management, one of the major issues today?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, definitely.
Nicholas, anything to add?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Natalia, for the initiative. From my point of view as a lawyer, I see that we must invest in three things. First of all, Cyprus funds, intellectual property to make Cyprus an IT hub, and of course, shipping law. There are many tax incentives and incentives for every individual or company that they want to invest in Cyprus, and we have to exploit it.
Yeah, it's interesting that in shipping for so many decades, we are still attractive. So it's one of the industries where we did not lose. IT might be the second one if we take it wisely. And this IP box regime, which Andres mentioned, and other regimes will be also expanding. Neophytos, you will complete our today's conversation. 2 words, 30 seconds. Sound. Switch on, yes.
Good evening to everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation. I don't have any comments because I come in the middle of the communication. Have any specific comments?
Okay. But do you find such meetings interesting for you? Did you hear anything that?
Yes.
Okay, so we will summarize with this. Thank you, Neophytos. I would like to thank all of you for participating in this meeting. This is the first meeting for this group. We have now 280 members, and slowly we will have more. Lucine contacts 10 people per day, expanding this network. The group is going to be the group of people I know in person, and I want to deepen my relationship with each of you to know about you more, so I can introduce you to more and more people in this group and beyond this group. So just be active in the group, comment under the post, do something, because I want you, at the end of the day, everyone who is in that group, to know each other. And this will be my challenge. And I congratulate us, all of us, with the completion of the first ever meeting of this Cyprus Business Network group. Thank you very much for being present here, and I hope to see you again very soon, and maybe in person. I miss so much personal meetings. So the first opportunity we will have, maybe in September, I would love to meet you all. Thank you. Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you. We have in the chat some thank you from people. Thank you very much. And we will see each other live, I hope.
Perfect.
So
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.